You listen to Space in Between, a podcast for the beautifully messy, the stuff we usually whisper, and the uncomfortable truths we prefer not to face. I'm Best, and I'm not here to fix you or offer you a quick guide on how to be a better person. I'm here to talk about something messy, hidden, and deeply uncomfortable: internalized sexism. Specifically, how we, as women, sometimes become each other's harshest critics. I never planned to be in psychoeducation. I kind of fell into it. Mindfulness, coaching. But behind a calm voice, I was walking on eggshells. There was a rule book. Yeah, no thanks. I ask questions. I live in the gray zones. This is Space in Between. No fluff, no filters. Welcome. You're in the right place. In our previous episode, we talked about mindfulness. How mindfulness is being sold as a product, polished and packaged to suit us without ever challenging us. Today, we're shifting focus from personal growth culture to the beliefs we quietly inherit and rarely question. We're exploring how sexism isn't just something we experience, it's something we internalize. It becomes our own inner voice, shaping how we judge ourselves and other women. You know, the kind of command that doesn't sound harmful on the surface, but stays with you anyway. Like this: I admire how she speaks her mind, honestly. She's strong, she's articulate, knows exactly what she wants, but there's a way to express things, you know? Sometimes it comes off a bit intense. And I've noticed men don't really respond well to that. They feel challenged, maybe even a little threatened. And in the end, men are men. She's amazing, but she's just not the marrying type, you know? That's internalized sexism in action. It sounds like concern, like advice, but underneath, it's a warning. Don't be too much. Don't scare them off. Know your place. Internalized sexism is when women unconsciously adopt sexist beliefs and behaviors that were originally designed to oppress them, then direct those beliefs at themselves and each other. It's patriarchy with a soft voice, one that tells us to stay small, to judge other women for stepping outside the box we've been told it's safe. It doesn't exist in a vacuum. It's deeply tied to the unconscious biases we carry, not just about gender, but about race, class, age, and what a good woman is supposed to look and act like. We touched on this in our episodes on unconscious bias and microaggressions, how subtle behaviors or commands, often dismissed as not a big deal, actually reveal deeper assumptions, like interrupting a woman in a meeting, questioning her tone, dismissing her ambition as too much. These aren't just isolated moments, they are patterns. And sometimes they don't even come from men, they come from us, from other women, from ourselves. Of course, internalized sexism isn't limited to women. Men can also absorb and enforce sexist beliefs, especially around what's acceptable for women to say, do, or become. But in this episode, I'm focusing on how internalized sexism shows up among women, because that's the part that's often harder to talk about. And honestly, is the part I've been most curious about. And just to be clear, I'm not saying all women are like this. This isn't about pointing fingers. This is space in between. And I'm just exploring one possibility, one lens. If this doesn't feel true for you, great. And if it made you uncomfortable, sometimes that's not a sign to dismiss it, but to stay with it. I can't tell you how many messages I've gotten from other women, yes, women, telling me I would be taken more seriously if I wore more makeup, or that I should soften how direct I am. Apparently, being spontaneous is unprofessional, working too much is unfeminine, and being visible is, well, kind of annoying. It's funny how empowerment often comes with a footnote. Empowered women support other women as long as they're not too loud, too tired, or wearing the wrong shade of lipstick. And yes, I've probably done the same thing, silently judged another woman's tone or her outfit, or thought to myself that was a bit extra, because I'm cruel, but because I've been conditioned to. Because sometimes another woman's boldness brushes up against all the places I've been taught to shrink. And instead of celebrating her, I pull away, even if it's just internally, even if it's just for a second. Because we've been taught to measure each other against an impossible standard. Be competent, but not cold. Be confident, but not bossy. Be attractive, but not threatening. And when a woman steps outside of the box, when she's loud, emotional, unapologetic, it can trigger something in us, a discomfort, a judgment, a need to pull her back in line. Not always out of cruelty, but out of conditioning, out of the belief that belonging is earned through staying in line, through being likable, approachable, pleasant. And that's what makes internalized sexism so slippery. It hides behind politeness. It wears the mask of concern. I just think people would take her more seriously if she made a bit of more effort with how she looks. Maybe fix her hair, put on something nicer. She's almost 40 and still not married. Maybe she's too picky. I mean, I do support ambitious women, but she's kind of intense. It's a lot. She says she doesn't want kids, but isn't that what women are meant for in the end? On the surface, it sounds caring. But underneath, it's often just another way of saying she's not playing the role we're comfortable with. And that discomfort, that's exactly where we need to pause. Not to silence it, but to question it. Because sometimes what we call concern is just patriarchy in a softer voice. We don't say we're jealous. We say we're just being honest. We frame it as concern or taste or preference. We don't call it competition. We call it standards. But it's worth asking, what are those standards based on? Who created them? And more importantly, who do they actually benefit? Most of us just follow those standards by habit until someone dares not to. And when someone breaks that promise by not behaving and still owning her place, we don't always feel admiration. We feel unease. So we start using words that sound neutral, but carry sharp edges. She's difficult. She's intimidating. She's just a bit much. And those words, they don't stay words for long. They become decisions. We don't invite her to the project. We skip her in the group chat. We wait until someone else, usually a man, repeats her idea before we agree. And this is another layer of internalized sexism. The quiet belief that men are just more reliable leaders. Not because we want to, but because we've been trained to see him as the standard and her as the risk. He gets authority by default. She gets questioned by instinct. And when she doesn't fit the script, we don't just doubt her, we punish her for making us uncomfortable. Sometimes we tell ourselves we're just being cautious. But what we're really doing is keeping the cage locked and handling each other the key. And this is how systems maintain themselves, by turning us into gatekeepers of our own limitations. And the scariest part? Sometimes it doesn't feel like oppression. It feels like friendship, like just trying to help. But if we slow down and really listen, beneath that politeness is fear. Fear of standing out. Fear of being the next one called too much. Fear of rejection. Fear of what would happen if we all stopped playing nice and told the truth. So, how do we catch ourselves? Start with your inner voice. Notice the small judgments, the silent eye rolls, the discomfort when another woman is fully herself. Ask yourself, would I think this about a man? What belief about women am I reinforcing here? Pause before you speak, especially if it might diminish another woman or her choices. And finally, support women loudly and quietly, not just when it's trending. Support them in the room and when they're not around. Support them when they succeed differently than you would. We don't have to live the same lives to respect each other's choices. Because the real revolution, it's not just fighting sexism out there. It's dismantling the version we carry inside. So here is something to sit with. Think of a woman you judged recently, maybe for her tone, her choices, her visibility. What belief was hidden in that reaction? And next time, can you meet that moment with curiosity instead of comparison? Because when we stop gatekeeping each other's freedom, real change begins. Next episode, we'll explore another hidden layer, adultism. How we unconsciously mirror the same power dynamics with young people that we challenge in the rest of society. Why we often dismiss their emotions, their insights, or label their clarity as too much. And how that discomfort might reveal more about us than about them. See you next time in the space between tearing each other down and finally setting each other free. Stay uncomfortable.